Okay, so recently you've developed an interest in animation and 3D, and you wanted to know how it's possible, how they make those cool animations, how they made Arcane, how they made Spider-Verse, and you came across Blender, the free software that allows you to create and be the best version of the 3D artist that you want. And then you open and you find this scene and you try and do everything and nothing is happening. You can't do anything and you're totally confused. Well, this is the beginner's video in mastering Blender. So first, let's learn about the interface. So if you go to Edit and Preferences and you come to the input and you tick all these, you have a better control over, for me that is how I am conversant with the keys. So you can use these ones over here, these ones over here. So this one helps you rotate around the viewport. So this is the viewport, this is the viewport, these are your grids, these tiny lines. This green line is your y-axis, this red line is your x-axis. It's kind of like when you're doing graphing, when we're doing graphing JHS and stuff. So like x-axis, y-axis. So like, yeah, that's how it is basically. But just like this one, there's a z-axis. If you come here, you can turn it on. There's also a z-axis here. If you want to zoom in, you use the magnifying glass icon. If you want to pan, you use the hand to pan. And when the camera switches you into camera mode. Now in camera mode, when you press the lock button, you can control the camera. You can view your thing through the camera. So you can zoom in also from the camera and pan with the camera. When you unlock it and you zoom in, you don't really control the camera. You're just looking into the camera. You can also pan. You can also pan, but okay, let's put it mess up. But when you rotate, it gets out of it, it leaves the camera in the position. It doesn't change the position of the camera, it leaves it there. But if you're not into using the mouse to constantly rotate your scene, zoom in and pan, you can use the shortcuts on the keyboard. When you come to Blender, shortcuts will be your best friend. Shortcuts will be your bestie. Like if you are using Blender and you are not conversant with the shortcuts, I don't know what you are doing. If you are not using shortcuts, then I don't know, like how can you be using Blender and you're not using shortcuts? So if you want to rotate your viewport, hold Alt and left click to rotate. Hold Shift, hold Control and Alt to zoom in, and then Shift Alt to pan. Okay, so now we are done with looking around the interface of moving around your viewport. Now if you select, so now let's come to the cube. You want to move your cube, you want to do something with your cube, you want to turn your cube into a human head. That is a whole lot of things, but right now let's learn how to move our cube. So if you come here, this is your light, this thing here is your light. So let's move our cube. You can go the manual way. This one helps you move, this one helps you rotate, this one helps you scale, and this one has all of them combined. So this is a scale, the rotate, and the arrow represents the movement. Now if you have moved things and you want it to get back to normal, you can press Alt G to set it back to its location, Alt rotate to set it back to its rotation, and Alt S to set it back to its scale. Now I am again shortcut, so you press S to scale your thing. If you want to scale it around the Z axis, you press Z. If you want to scale it around the X axis, you press X. If you want to scale it along the Y axis, you press Y. So X, Y, Z. If you want to rotate, you can also press it while in your mode. If you want to rotate, press R. If you want to rotate around the X axis, X. The same thing, Y, and the same Z. If you want to grab, you press G. So right now it's on the Z axis. You can move it along the Z axis, move it along the X axis, and move it along the Y axis. So that's pretty much it. Over here you get control over the 3D cursor. It may not look useful, but over time we'll talk about it. The future projects will help you understand its importance. If you come over here, it shows the things in your viewport. So here is your cube, here is your cube, here is your camera, and here is your light. One tip I also learned is that if you want to duplicate your thing, it's easy. If let's say you want to duplicate the cube, you can, or the light, you can just drag and drop it, and then you duplicated it. Or another way is to hold Shift plus D to duplicate. Or if you are more of a click person, you want to click stuff, you can come here and press the duplicate objects. Most importantly, when we start, we want to be able to render our scene. You probably heard about rendering whilst you were on your search for the 3D software. Well, in Blender it's quite easy. You just click render and render animation, or you press F12 and then your scene renders. I don't think I placed a camera on the cube, did I? My PC is quite slow, so it takes a while. Alright, so yeah, you have your scene rendered. So over here is the properties panel. Here it allows you to control your render scene. Here allows you to control the output, what the final image will look like. This allows you to control the number of passes you render. We'll explain that in the future. This one allows you to control the measurements, units, and simulations of your scenes. This one allows you to control your world properties. This one allows you to control the collection over here. I don't really know much about that part. This one allows you to control how your objects react with your scene. So far, yeah, that's it, I think. This one allows you to control this one gives you options for force fields and rigid body constraints and the physics. Yeah, it gives you options for physics. We'll get more into that later. This one gives you the constraints. This one gives you the ability to control the vertex. This one allows you to color your material. So why not use white? Here allows you to control the animation. That's why you set keyframes to decide how your objects move in your scene. So let's say you want to move the cube. You press insert, you see an orange diamond here. Now let's say you want, so now let's come to 20 and then you move the box to the left. So it means from here to here, the box from here to here. So you press insert, another diamond will be set. Now when you move it, yeah, so you can press play and then your box would move to that position. We'll get more into that in the future. So that is pretty much it to start with Blender. In our next project we'll explore more about the other properties like modeling, sculpting, UV, and everything. We'll explore more as we progress into more complicated projects, which by the time you would be conversant with. So see you next time. Until then, bye.